Hi everyone, Jonathan here, and we come to the next part of the letter to the Romans, specifically chapter 11 and verses 25 to 36. And I did think I might focus on the last few verses, which basically throw everything into perspective. God is just so beyond our understanding, so amazing, so incomprehensible that all we can do is stand in awe and gratitude that he loves us. But then as I was reading this passage for the umpteenth time, verse 29 jumped out at me, and it says, God's gifts and his call are irrevocable, or should that be irrevocable? In other words, he will never revoke the gifts and the call he has given us. He won't take them back and say, well, actually, I've changed my mind, you can't have them anymore. Of course, it doesn't mean that he won't give us other gifts and other calls when the time is right. And of course, that doesn't stop us from choosing not to use the gifts he has given us or ignoring his call. But they will remain there for us. I mean, we might treat them like an unwanted Christmas present that we, politely put away somewhere and conveniently forget about. But our Father in heaven will not take them back just because we've decided to ignore them. He will almost certainly keep prompting us about those gifts and calling us until such time as we actually decide, well, we're going to use them, or decide we will follow the call that God has given us. But of course, we may think we're kind of unworthy of the gifts and the calling that he's given us. And in fact, really we are. But God is gracious. He wants to give us gifts. He wants us to do things with him and for him, even though we may ask why. Which then brings us to those final verses in this passage. God has reasons for what he says and does, and for what he wants us to say and do. But we shouldn't expect to understand why he has given us particular gifts or a particular call. He wants us to trust him and step out in faith. So perhaps the challenge for us today is to answer two simple questions. Are we using the gifts God has given us? And are we following the call God has for us? Hopefully the answer is yes. But maybe this is something that we can ponder as we go about whatever we do today. And finally, as Paul writes, to him be the glory forever.